how did you go from Ruby to Go? What led to you trying out Go, I guess?
Well, that was probably the most ridiculous thing that happened in any of my projects. Or imagine it to your open source project that already has a huge code base and thousands or tens of thousands of users. Somebody comes along and rewrites it all in from Go to Rust or something like that and says, here you go. You're now supposed to merge this thing, deleting all of your code and replacing it with new code. This is basically what happened. There was this person who maintained for a while his fork of Hub that was a total rewrite from Ruby. And this person's, his name is Owen, primary motivation was that, well, Ruby was really slow. Ruby took, the Ruby interpreter took about 60 seconds then on my machine on a really high-end MacBook to only start. And that was often not even including things like the standard library. So as soon as you would then require net HTTP of the same name as is it in Go from the standard library, that would add maybe 20 more or something like that. And so we were talking about we're now at 100 milliseconds and the program hasn't even started doing anything yet. The other thing is portability. People had to install Ruby on the system and they had to be not a very certain version of Ruby, but over time, Ruby versions changed that are pre-installed on the system, or some things get injected into the Ruby loader by default that it is not longer compatible when it boots up for Hub's purposes. And there was all sorts of these problems, which it was just really hard to make it really seamlessly portable unless somebody already had a Ruby development environment. That's all okay because they understand their environment. But to somebody who would just like to use Hub, that they now have to commit to maintaining the Ruby version over system upgrades over the years, it was a pain for a lot of users. So a precompiled binary that is just cross-compiled for different systems and can be just dropped in there, that sounded like a dream. And I actually didn't believe it because I had no experience of Go. It was this new thing, and I'm not a very fast learner or early adopter of things. And it took me a while to warm up to the idea, but slowly I started working with Owen to really solidify the test suite around the transition so we can have some confidence that we didn't break too much. We knew that every complete rewrite will introduce a lot of bugs, not the normal amount of bugs with like as a PR or something, but a lot of them. And we just at least try to minimize this, not to lose the trust of the Hub community.